By midnight on the 2nd of every month, trucks under armed guard arrive at designated post offices throughout the United States. Their cargo, $1 billion in checks to be delivered to some 15 million people. Checks for men, women, and children of all ages. If your name is not already on one of these checks, chances are that sooner or later it will be. Your name or names of one or more of your dependents. For nearly everyone has a stake in the system, a system that dates back to that time many of us still remember. Out of this laboratory of despair, hunger, economic paralysis, came the system we call Social Security. It started with a bill passed by Congress in 1935, and it became law a few days later when the bill was signed by the President of the United States. Various other measures through the years have expanded and amended it, so that today it affects almost every American family. This, then, is a report on this huge undertaking of a nation in transition and the several programs that make up Social Security. It is the story of what happened before the day Social Security started, and the story of what happens before the day your Social Security check will arrive at your door. In the agony of the 1930s, a most urgent task was relief of distress. Traditionally, this was a local task, a matter of community charity, of county poor farms, and of local relief giving. But how much could the distressed help the distressed, and for how long? In 1935, the Social Security Act set up a system of federal grants to the states to enable them to give cash assistance to needy people. The states administer their own programs. State welfare workers determine the need of each family that applies. The costs are shared by the federal and state governments. Today, the needy old, the needy blind, the needy child, and the disabled in need may receive money, medical care, and other kinds of help. But Social Security from the start looked beyond relief measures. Its aim was to prevent dependency and reduce the need for relief through social insurance against various disasters. Among these, the disaster of unemployment. Unemployment is not new. Ironically, the very machines that brought our age the promise of plenty, that drew men by millions to factory and business enterprise, that built our great cities, that bound our nation together, also added greater emphasis to the age-old specter of unemployment. The growing industries were often dependent on distant sources of supply, distant markets. As students of economics can tell you, changes taking place even in a successful economy lead to unemployment for many. When this occurred in our early American history, there was the western frontier. Land for the asking. Land that could be staked and tilled. Fertile land. Land in which hard work could reap rich crops. And apparently endless amounts of timber. and that with a little luck could also give forth gold. In each depression, these drew men westward. Need anyone long go hungry? Need anyone long be out of work? Could not everyone get along on his own? So it was felt by many as depressions came and went. And then came the Great Depression. $12 million Americans unemployed. 1 out of every 4 workers out of a job. Savings swept away by business failures. Was the answer go west? In the West, many descendants of earlier settlers were now destitute. Where were the new frontiers? Good lands no longer waited, free for the asking. Could the destitute get along on their own? The government did not think so. The destitute needed help, and so while we were extending relief measures, many still asked, how could we build safeguards against future destitution? In 1936, the federal government began to tax employers for unemployment insurance. Most of this money went into the state reserves for benefits as soon as the state set up a suitable unemployment insurance system. By the end of 1937, every state had set up its own system. Basically, this is how they work. State employment services find jobs for unemployed workers and find qualified workers for employers who need them. If work cannot be found for a jobless worker who has unemployment insurance protection, he is paid weekly benefits as long as he qualifies for them.
Hi. I used to work in a furniture factory. Back in '48, it folded up and I was out of a job. Things got pretty rough there for a while. I put in for unemployment benefits from the state, and that kept us gone for about 12 weeks or so. Then the State Employment Service referred me to this job, and I've been here ever since. Like it fine, too. If I didn't, I wouldn't still be here.
4 out of 5 employed people in this country have unemployment insurance protection. Although the states pay the unemployment insurance benefits, the United States Department of Labor allocates funds to pay the cost of administration from the federal share of the unemployment insurance tax. The Social Security Act of 1935 also set up a social insurance plan for another problem. The problem of old age. Old age, like unemployment, is not new. But the world has changed around it. Even 100 years ago, when 4 out of 5 Americans lived in farm communities, old age had its problems. But there were traditional chores for the old. Jobs that took time and had to be done. And there was room. Then came the great migration to the city. In a world of stepped-up tempos, what place for the old? In an industrialized world, what was there they could do? In a world of small flats, what room? world of competition. How long could they keep up? More and more, the aged stood outside the economy, especially during business recessions. Ironically, science, prolonger of life, has added dimension to their problems. The old live on in ever-growing numbers, an increasing legion of the old, increasingly pushed to the sidelines, more and more of them unable to find employment. How could an income be provided for the aged for whom there was no longer any work? Congress thought part of the answer was old age benefits. In 1937, the federal government began to collect from workers and their employers taxes to pay for old age benefits. The money collected to be held in trust by the government. Payments to be made to the worker when he retired, the amount based on his earnings. In 1940, the monthly retirement checks were put into the mail for the first time. Many who received those first checks are still getting them.
I've been collecting Social Security since I've been 65, and I'm 85 now.
Many occupations excluded at first were brought in by later amendments. In addition, benefits were provided for wives and children under 18 years of age.
Howdy. I've been living on and working this farm for over 24 years. 2 years ago, the doctor ordered me to quit the farm. So I've been drawing Social Security ever since. You see, I was paying Social Security while I was working the farm. Now, me and my wife both draw checks every month. I don't see how we could do without it. Be seeing y'all.
You know, I could probably chew your ears off for hours on the problem of aging and what I think of Social Security. But until you've been up against it and have learned what it really means to make every penny count, you'll never be able to appreciate it. Social Security, it's no fortune, but it sure helps.
Often, old age payments play an important part in retirement calculations.
Hello. You know, I'm enjoying Social Security, too. And the amount that I receive every month is based on what my salary was as a home economist for 23 years. Now that I've retired, well, I'm giving as much time as I can to the Women's Division of the Chamber of Commerce. The other night, I was at a birthday party, and I learned there from one of the girls who was a home economist that when she retired, well, her income was a little bit limited. So she went back to work. Now she's receiving $33 a month from the Social Security. And this $33 a month extra, you know, gives her an opportunity of having the little joys and the luxuries that she wouldn't ordinarily have. You know, it's pretty wonderful.
At the same time that retirement benefits started, Social Security provided against another kind of disaster, the death of the breadwinner. In the farm world of other days, if the father died, the family might somehow manage to get along.